Should you follow Buddha or should you follow Christ? Here's my take on it. Buddha realized that we live in an illusion. We live in what he calls Maya, in what some people call a simulation or a matrix. And that this reality is controlled by the mind. And the mind can only perceive this reality in terms of polarity, in terms of good and evil, pain and pleasure, and so on. Black and white, ones and zeros, you name it. And he realized that the way to escape this reality of suffering, this reality of duality, is to retreat into himself and abstain from society, abstain from all this chaos, abstain from sex, abstain from all these things, and just go deep into yourself and practice meditation, practice breath works, and connect to archetypes and Buddhic consciousness, egregores, and so on, and ascend your consciousness from this one that we have right now in the plane of the mind, in this 3D plane, into higher realms. That's Buddhic consciousness in a very summarized nutshell, okay? And Christ, on the other hand, is kind of the opposite, because he also realized that this world is laden with polarity, that there's a bunch of good and evil, and there's suffering everywhere and all those things. But instead of retreating into himself and trying to escape it, he takes another approach. He decides to jump fully into it, to immerse himself into it. He's like, I'm going to live life. I'm going to endure pain. I'm going to experience all the good and the bad, and I'm going to help people through it, because he knew that deep down, no matter what happened to him in this physical plane, it could not affect who he truly was in higher realms, and cannot affect his soul at all. And that's what happened to him. He decided to help a bunch of people by showing them the way, by telling them to be like him and what to do in order to obtain enlightenment or Christ consciousness. And he ended up being crucified. So he did this sacrifice for us. And it might seem like I'm trying to convert you here, telling you to be like Christ or follow Christ. That's not the case at all. I'm not a Christian. I'm not a Buddhist either. I am simply an explorer, and these are just my thoughts. But what I'm trying to tell you here is that there's no one perfect path in life, or one path to enlightenment, or one correct spiritual path. Everyone is going to do better in a different path. Some people will do better, abstaining from society and going to monasteries and meditating and, cultivating the sense of awareness and raising their consciousness. But that doesn't work for everyone. Some other people will have to go through life and truly live it, go through the goods and the bads and suffer, and then learn lessons from those experiences. And I have fallen in the first camp for a very big part of my life. You start to get into spirituality, you start to oh my God, I have to meditate, I have to ascend my consciousness and so on. But it eventually stops working, and it's not for me. And now I'm taking the more of the Christ approach of living life and learning through it, and hopefully helping other people in the process. So just some food for thought.